Many names have I, and many faces.
Goodnight Moon by Margaret Wise Brown. Pictures by Clement Hurd.
Remember those magical nights in the 80s, curled up with a book just before bed? From playful tricks of Peter Rabbit to the dreamy landscapes of the snowy day, these stories shaped our dreams and taught timeless lessons. Now, let's travel back in time to rediscover the 20 famous classic bedtime stories every 80s kid will remember.
Love You Forever.
Number 1. Love You Forever. Written by Robert Munsch and published in 1986, Love You Forever is a story that captures the deep and enduring love a mother holds for her son as he grows from infancy through adulthood. Each stage of his life is met with the mother's unwavering affection as she sings a tender lullaby to him each and every night, promising to always care for him. This heartfelt narrative resonates universally, illustrating the timeless bond between parent and child, and the simplicity and repetition of the lullaby help to weave a touching story that has moved readers for decades, making it a beloved bedtime pin in many homes. From everlasting maternal love to delightful interactive letters, let's open the Jolly Postman. Number 2. The Jolly Postman. Written by Janet and Alan Alberg, The Jolly Postman delighted children with its interactive elements when first released in 1986. The book follows a postman on his daily route, delivering letters to familiar fairy tale characters like the Three Bears and Cinderella. But what makes the story unique is its design. Each letter can be physically removed and read, giving readers a hands-on experience. Each letter reveals charming details about their recipients' lives, drawing readers into the world of classic fairy tales in an engaging and imaginative fashion. The combination of story and interactive play made The Jolly Postman a beloved classic, offering children an opportunity to explore storytelling beyond the usual pages. Leaving the unique post from The Jolly Postman, we now settle into the timeless bedtime habits of Goodnight Moon.
In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon.
Number 3. Goodnight Moon. Written by Margaret Wise Brown and published in 1947, Goodnight Moon has become a timeless classic for bedtime reading. The book's simple yet poetic language, along with Clement Hurd's colorful illustrations, create a soothing ritual. Readers are gently guided through a great green room, bidding goodnight to all the objects, from kittens to mittens. Each page is a comforting lullaby that quiets the world for bedtime, providing a familiar sense of security and warmth. The rhythmic repetition in Brown's writing, paired with Hurd's vivid imagery, helps children to embrace sleep with a sense of wonder, and its enduring charm has made it a go-to story that parents have shared with their little ones for generations. From the whispers of Goodnight Moon, we jump into the adventurous garden of The Tale of Peter Rabbit.
The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter.
Number 4. The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Beatrix Potter's The Tale of Peter Rabbit, published in 1902, remains one of the most beloved children's stories of all time. It follows the mischievous Peter Rabbit, who ignores his mother's warnings and ventures into Mr. McGregor's garden, leading to a thrilling chase through vegetable patches and flower beds. Despite the danger, Peter's curiosity drives him deeper into trouble. The charming watercolor illustrations by Potter herself bring the lush English countryside to life, making Peter's adventure feel all the more vibrant and immediate. While providing gentle lessons about listening to one's parents and avoiding risky behavior, the story's playful tone keeps young readers captivated and entertained. Leaving Peter's mischief behind, we'll now drink in the snowy quiet of the snowy day.
The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats.
Number 5. The Snowy Day. Written and illustrated by Ezra Jack Keats in 1962, The Snowy Day is a beautifully simple yet evocative exploration of a child's wonder during the first snowfall. The book follows young Peter as he ventures outside in his bright red snowsuit to experience the magic of freshly fallen snow. He makes footprints, creates snow angels, and slides down snowy hills with infectious joy. Keats's bold collage illustrations combined with a gentle narrative bring Peter's urban winter landscape to life. This timeless story not only captures the spirit of a child's imagination, but also marks a significant step in children's literature by featuring a black protagonist, offering representation and inclusivity. It's no wonder The Snowy Day remains a classic for bedtime reading. From the calm of snowflakes in the snowy day, we now step into the unpredictable sideways stories from Wayside School.
Does anyone else have an opinion? Myron? Phoebe?
Number 6. Sideways Stories from Wayside School. Written by Louis Satcher and released in 1978, Sideways Stories from Wayside School invites readers into a bizarre school that's 30 stories high, but missing the 19th floor. The book features zany and unforgettable tales about students and teachers in the weird classrooms of the school, from Mrs. Gorf, who turns children into apples, to Miss Zarvez, a teacher on a non-existent floor. Each story is more weird and comical than the last. Satcher's imaginative and playful writing captures the oddball humor of the school's quirky characters while leaving readers laughing and guessing what's next. The unique humor and clever storytelling made Sideways Stories an irresistible choice for bedtime reading. Transitioning from the strange Wayside School, we now join two intimate friends in Frog and Toad Are Friends.
Frog and Toad Are Friends by Arnold Lobel.
Number 7. Frog and Toad Are Friends. Arnold Lobel's Frog and Toad Are Friends, published in 1970, is a heartwarming collection of short stories that celebrate the simple joys and challenges of friendship. The book features the gentle and dependable frog and the sometimes grumpy but lovable toad as they navigate everyday adventures together, with each story highlighting the unique quirks and camaraderie between the two friends, like searching for lost buttons or even waiting for the mail. Lobel's whimsical illustrations perfectly capture the distinct personalities of Frog and Toad, drawing readers into a world where small acts of kindness and loyalty shine bright. The comforting tales make Frog and Toad Are Friends a timeless and cozy choice for bedtime reading. After heartfelt stories of friendship, meet a brave little bear in the big city of Corduroy.
Corduroy by Don Freeman.
Number 8. Corduroy. Written by Don Freeman and first published in 1968, Corduroy tells the story of a small teddy bear who yearns for a loving home. Living on a shelf in a department store, Corduroy notices that one of the buttons on his green overalls is missing. Determined to fix it, he then sneaks out at night in search of a new button, leading him on an impulsive journey through the store. Though he does not find the button, a kind little girl named Lisa discovers Corduroy and takes him home, accepting him just as he is. Freeman's tender illustrations and narrative resonate with the themes of friendship, belonging, and acceptance, making Corduroy a warm and comforting read for bedtime. From Corduroy's department store adventures, we now turn the page to the playful suspense in the monster at the end of this book.
Monster at the end of this.
Number 9. The Monster at the End of This Book. In John Stone's The Monster at the End of This Book, Grover from Sesame Street hilariously begs readers not to turn the page, fearful of the supposed monster that's waiting at the end. Published in 1971 and illustrated by Michael Smolin, this interactive story shows Grover employing all kinds of tricks, from tying knots to building walls, to prevent readers from reaching the last page. But the real twist is that the supposed monster at the end is none other than Grover himself. Stone's playful text and Smolin's dynamic illustrations deliver a delightful surprise and laughter, inviting children into a world where playful suspense turns into a happy revelation. After finding the mystery with Grover, what happens if you give a mouse a cookie?
If You Give a Mouse a Cookie by Laura Numeroff.
Number 10. If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Written by Laura Numeroff and published in 1985, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie is an endlessly charming story about a demanding little mouse who begins with a cookie and keeps asking for more. The whimsical illustrations by Felicia Bond bring this circular tale to life, where one request leads to another. After receiving a cookie, the mouse wants a glass of milk, and then a straw, and so on and so forth, creating a hilarious chain of events. The book captures the concept of cause and effect in a clever way, making readers laugh as the mouse demands become more and more intricate and entertaining. With its rhythmic text and delightful drawings, this classic story has entertained generations with its comical look at how one simple act of kindness can snowball. From a humorous mouse story, we now venture into a thrilling exploration with the Berenstain Bears and the spooky old tree.
The Berenstain Bears and the spooky old...
Number 11. The Berenstain Bears and the Spooky Old Tree. In The Berenstain Bears and the Spooky Old Tree, published in 1978, Stan and Jan Berenstain created a thrilling yet family-friendly adventure starring their famous Berenstain bear cubs. The cubs bravely decide to explore the mysterious and eerie old tree, climbing into its branches and entering its shadowy depths, despite their nervousness, while using flashlights and a stick to light the way. Along the journey, they face a series of spooky obstacles, from bats to crocodiles. The cubs' courage, along with the rich illustrations, bring the story to life, perfectly blending tension and humor, providing a safe but thrilling bedtime adventure. This book remains a favorite amongst children who enjoy a little mystery and spooky fun, all while reading about the lovable bears. Leaving the bear cubs' adventure, let's get lost in the enchanted Garden of Abdul Gasazi.
About a year and a half ago, I had this urge to tell a different kind of story. Mostly I tell fantasies.
Number 12. The Garden of Abdul Gasazi. Chris Van Allsburg's The Garden of Abdul Gasazi, released in 1979, follows a young boy named Alan and his mischievous dog Fritz. The story begins when Alan loses control of Fritz, who runs into the lush and mysterious garden of a magician known as Abdul Gasazi. Alan's attempt to rescue Fritz turns into a magical journey as he navigates the garden's twisting paths and strange illusions, eventually meeting the magician himself. Van Allsburg masterfully captures the surreal atmosphere of the garden with his detailed illustrations, filling the story with suspense and whimsy. His imaginative storytelling and magical visuals make this tale an unforgettable adventure for anyone who dreams of stepping into another world. From magical gardens to the cozy 100-acre wood, we go to Winnie-the-Pooh.
Winnie-the-Pooh! I was just wondering if you had a little smackerel of something a bit.
Number 13. Winnie-the-Pooh. In 1926, A.A. Milne introduced the world to Winnie-the-Pooh, a lovable bear with a passion for honey. Set in the 100-acre wood, the stories follow Pooh Bear's adventures with his friends Piglet, Tigger, Eeyore, and others, and they explore the woods, solve problems, and enjoy life with their unique personalities and quirks. Each character represents different aspects of friendship and emotion, which are captured in Milne's gentle storytelling style. Ernest H. Shepard's charming illustrations add warmth and depth to these timeless tales that create a whimsical world where simple joys and meaningful lessons come together. Children and adults alike are drawn to Pooh's endearing innocence and sense of wonder. Exiting the 100-acre wood, we now see what happens when Miss Nelson goes missing.
Miss Nelson is missing!
Number 14. Miss Nelson is Missing. Written by Harry Allard and illustrated by James Marshall, Miss Nelson is Missing was released in 1977, offering a delightful mixture of mystery and humor. The book introduces Miss Nelson, a kind and patient teacher whose classroom of unruly students is beyond control. One day, she mysteriously disappears and is replaced by Miss Viola Swamp, a strict substitute with no tolerance for nonsense. The children quickly realize how much they miss Miss Nelson's gentle approach. The story playfully explores the consequences of taking kindness for granted, highlighting the clever twist when Miss Nelson finally returns. Marshall's exaggerated illustrations capture the contrast between the sweet Miss Nelson and the formidable Miss Swamp, adding an extra layer of fun. After a classroom mystery, we now experience the magic of Strega Nona's pasta pot.
Today we're reading Strega Nona. It's an original version of an old...
Number 15. Strega Nona. Strega Nona was published in 1975, a whimsical tale that combines magic and humor set in a small Italian village, and the story follows Strega Nona, a grandma witch known for her magical remedies. She entrusts her assistant, Big Anthony, with the task of looking after her home, warning him to never touch her enchanted pasta pot. But curiosity gets the better of Anthony, and he can't resist the allure of endless pasta. Chaos then ensues as the magical pot overflows, flooding the town and nearly burying it in pasta. Strega Nona saves the day, teaching Big Anthony a valuable lesson about following instructions. The engaging illustrations and storytelling deliver a humorous, memorable adventure with a gentle moral tale. From magical meals to wild disturbances, next up is Where the Wild Things Are.
How could you say that? Don't you dare say that.
There's no such thing as a king.
Number 16. Where the Wild Things Are. Maurice Sendak's Where the Wild Things Are was first released in 1963, capturing the vivid imagination of children. The story revolves around Max, a young boy who wears a wolf costume and gets into mischief. Sent to bed without his dinner, he then embarks on a fantastical journey to a mysterious island filled with strange creatures known as the Wild Things. He becomes their king and then rules over their wild rumpus. Max eventually longs for the comfort of home and sails back, where he finds a warm supper that's waiting for him. The story is both playful and profound, exploring themes of emotion and adventure. Sendak's illustrations and imaginative storytelling continue to captivate readers of all ages. Leaving Max's wild kingdom, we now face Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Number 17. Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Judith Vorst's Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day was published in 1972 and humorously depicts the ups and downs of a rough day. The story follows Alexander, a young boy who wakes up with gum in his hair and quickly realizes it's going to be one of those days. From being squished in the car, finding no dessert in his lunch, and getting soap in his eyes, his day only gets worse and worse, and he declares that he wants to move to Australia. The book is lighthearted, reminding readers that sometimes everyone has tough days, but things will eventually get better. With charming illustrations by Ray Cruz, it continues to resonate with children who know the frustration of having an off day. From Alexander's Bad Day, we go to the impulsive verses of Green Eggs and Ham.
Green Eggs and Ham.
Number 18. Green Eggs and Ham. Dr. Seuss, a pseudonym for Theodore Geisel, wrote and illustrated Green Eggs and Ham, published in 1960. The book follows Sam I Am, who tries persistently to convince the protagonist to taste an unusual dish of green eggs and ham. Initially, the protagonist firmly declines to try it, despite Sam I Am offering it in different places and ways, like in a box or with a fox. But in the end, he finally gives in and discovers that he likes the quirky meal. This playful story encourages children to try new things in life, even if they seem strange or unfamiliar. The rhythmic text and repetitive structure make it an engaging and enjoyable read aloud. After Sam I Am's persistence, witness the transformation in the Very Hungry Caterpillar.
One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up and pop.
Number 19. The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Written and illustrated by Eric Carle, The Very Hungry Caterpillar was published in 1969. This iconic book features a small caterpillar who's extremely hungry and spends each day eating different foods. The caterpillar's journey begins with healthy fruits like apples and pears, and then expands on to cake and cheese and salami. Despite all of the feasting, he ends up with a stomachache and eventually forms a cocoon where he later emerges as a beautiful butterfly. The distinctive illustrations and clever die-cut pages make this story visually unique, and more than just fun, it's also educational, teaching counting and the life cycle of a butterfly along the way. From a small caterpillar to a curious little monkey, we now see what George is up to in Curious George.
George came to the big city to drive the man with the yellow hat bananas.
Number 20. Curious George. This story, written by H.A. Ray and first published in 1941, tells the story of a mischievous little monkey with an insatiable curiosity. Captured from the jungle by the man in the yellow hat, George then finds himself in a new world that's full of opportunities for fun and for trouble. From getting himself into sticky situations to finding creative solutions, George's adventures are always entertaining. The book is the first in a beloved series that continues to charm readers young and old and encourages children to explore their curiosity while also learning important lessons about problem solving and kindness. What did you think of this video, and what other iconic things did we leave out? Be sure to let me know all about it in the comments below.